All righty. Hope everybody's doing well today. Sorry for the little time mess up. We were getting things straight here. We are joined excuse me, tongue-tied, by an H Company Ranger, and we've got quite a few harrowing tales that we're going to be getting into today that we were just speaking about, and a few pictures to get into. And of course, if y'all have questions, get them in and we'll cover those towards the end, or if they pertain to what we're talking about in the moment, we'll hit them if possible. But I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to our guest today, Mr. James Ketrow, and let him go ahead and take it from here. Mr. Jim, thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you for having me, bud.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Did we kind of really get started with the all too basic questions of where and when were you born?
I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana in 1947, November of that year, at St. Vincent's Hospital.
St. Vincent's Hospital. So you'd be, you're a year older than my dad, or he would be.
Coming up on 78.
Okay. That's wonderful. I'll have to remember to wish you a happy birthday. Well, you being out in the Midwest, you growing up, and I imagine your family probably there for a while. Did you have family history of any military service?
My father was in the Pacific. He was a Marine.
Wow.
He started off as a merchant Marine. He was drafted actually into the merchant Marines, and he got in a fight pretty close to the beginning of it, and they kicked him out of the merchant Marines, and so he went over to the Marine Corps. And so he was a very good aircraft mechanic, him and my grandfather, so he didn't have any trouble getting work in the Marine Corps as an aircraft mechanic. He could work on Allisons, he could work on Pratt Whitney Lycoming rather.
Wow.
But he was in the Pacific. He did Eniwetok, he did Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, although they didn't go build anything on Iwo because it was too rocky, he said. But Engebi, Leyte, Marshall Islands. So he did 27 months out in the Pacific on Marine Air Group 22, which was a part, I believe, of Pappy Boynton's outfit, the Black Sheep.
Holy cow! That 27 months, man. That and it's if you guys, I'm supposed to be speaking to Eugene Sledge's son about his book and his father's book, but I mean, 27 months straight combat. I mean, of course, you're getting a little time off, but if you watch the Pacific and see it, I mean, they're in straight combat, some 60 odd days straight. I mean, it's a meat grinder.
Well, to be clear, my dad wasn't in actual combat. My dad said he would watch from the gunwale of the ship of the LCMs and LSTs going in the morning onto the beachheads, and the Japanese had the beaches all laid in with their guns interlocking fires. They had mortars, they had concertina wire or the equivalent. They had buttresses to knock the bottoms out of the boats, and if whatever the UDT couldn't get rid of that way and blow, and the artillery would prep the area above there. But the Japanese were clever. They had some caves and stuff. They had guns that would come out. So they would just rain blood and hell down on the Marines trying to come ashore. And that's what my dad called line company. He said I would watch in horror. He said I just couldn't do anything about it. He said, but you'd see the Marines that are floating in the surf. And he said we would go in almost right on top of them because we had to get in there and set up the PSP for the forward air so we could get rain some piss back on them, hopefully, with Corsairs and F6S Hellcats. And they didn't have any Lightnings or P-51 Mustangs, unfortunately, he said. But he said the Hellcat, and they had some Thunderbolts, I guess. They had Corsairs, and those were the aircraft that mostly he dealt with.
Wow. And definitely here, if you've seen or either read Eugene's book and Robert Lecky's book, the guys working on the aircrafts, flying the aircrafts, they had the utmost respect for those guys, because Lord knows they were kicking some tail and really laying it on for the ground pounders up there. I mean, I can't even imagine.
They tried to do the best they could to give them support, you know, because they knew that the line company Marines were going through hell.
Oh yeah. And it's interesting if you keep following history, Japan, you know, kind of there in Vietnam, and the Vietnamese would kind of do the same thing, have big guns, they'd hide in the caves and all of that. We've heard alert teams and SOG teams mention that from time to time. Very interesting historically how it flows on down. But with you being a Midwestern boy, I gotta imagine you played some sports growing up.
Yes, sir. We didn't have anything at our school. It was a small school. We didn't have anything at our school at Lawrenceburg, Indiana, except baseball, football, basketball, and football, of course. And we had later, they had volleyball and swimming and tennis and all that. But when I was there, it was, you know, you took your pick of three, and I played baseball. I didn't play football till after high school. I played in dirty football, it was called, Pottstown League, and with crackbacks and all that kind of shit. But it was fun. I wish I would have played in high school. I didn't play it until I got back from Vietnam, in fact. But anyhow, I played some sports. And I played rugby in the Cayman Islands. I was on 7-a-sides down there.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. You know, getting into some games when you got back from Vietnam. That sounds quite interesting.
It was a lot of fun. I don't know. I just like rough shit, so that's what I did.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Did you, while you're growing up, you've got family history with the military, you're in starting to get in junior high and high school. Did you have an inkling of joining the military, or did you see anything on the news that maybe drove your interest, or how the military come on your radar?
Well, just yesterday, I came back, you and I talked, because you had to put this thing back a bit, because I went to Washington, D.C., to the wall and to the Flight 99 Memorial in Arlington, etc. So I had two close friends, one very close friend that died when I was, 1967, he was killed, Tommy Denning. And that bothered me a lot. And so I said early on that before that I had wanted to join the Marine Corps like my dad. And my dad said, "I'm not signing for you." He said, "I think that war is going to not be worth a shit." He said, "You're going to have trouble." And he said, Korea, they had trouble with veterans. And he said, I would prefer you just wait and see what happens. And he was wiser than I was, of course. And so I held back. And then 1968, I was drafted. And so then I started volunteering for shit. I just started putting my hand up, and seemed like a good idea at the time to jump out a perfectly good aircraft. That sounds pretty good. Repelling from 300 feet or something, sound pretty good. And so a bunch of us that had gone through together through the NCO school down in Fort Benning, we decided to go up. They did a spiel at Cameron Bay in the Overseas Replacement Center.
Okay.
They rolled up in a Jeep, a guy with a black beret and a green beret, and man, they were starched and stracked, and they were hot shit. And we looked at them, and they're telling us that if you can make it, if you can make it through this selection process we got going up here, you might get, you'd only be out in the field for maybe a week a little bit more, and you get back and you get a day off and you get a hot meal and a shower, and we're going, wow, as opposed to a month or more out in the field, or maybe 2 months out in the field, we're going, well, that already sounds pretty good. And they said, not probably any more dangerous from whatever the hell they're doing, but you're just going to be better trained. And so I went, what's to not like?
Sounds
and
pretty
so
good.
I told my buddies, and they said, you're nuts, but we're not going to let you go up there and die alone.
That's awful nice of them.
Yeah. Cordell and Andrus and some of my close buddies at the time said, we're not letting you go up alone. You're an idiot, but we're going to go with you.
That's great.
So they're the ones that actually ended up lasting. I'm the guy that got shot to shit and got pushed out because I couldn't do it anymore.
Wow. So you guys had decided to take up the Black Beret and go with the H Company LERP / Rangers.
Well, you had to go through, it was run by 5th Group Special Forces. And that's why the SF guy. And it was Recondo. And so Recondo is a school. It's the bare essentials, but parsed down, was really the best school I ever went through in the military, bar none, because they did parse it down to the bare essentials, but they really hammered those things which were really essential to it, because this is all run by ex-team leaders, 1-0s.
Mm-hmm.
And so the 1-0s, the team leaders, they knew it, they'd done it. And you're actually getting trained by experienced people that actually have been out there. So they know what really is supposed to be, as opposed to some, field manual, You're not reading it out of a field manual. This is a guy telling you, this is what I did, and you better listen if you want to stay alive and you want to accomplish your mission. Yep, there you go. That's a shot of it. That's the patch down in the lower left.
And while the patch is up, were you graduates? Were you guys authorized to actually get to wear that when on y'all's uniforms?
At first, you weren't allowed to wear that unless you actually went through the actual school right there. But because we were trained and 5th Group, set up the whole program, they when the school was, I think, dissolved or whatever, they allowed guys that had been trained and if you had your certificate, which I have a certificate, I didn't go through the gates right there. There was some, like Cordell, he had a Recondo certificate. We didn't get a Recondo certificate at Camp Gorbad, but the 5th Group set up the program and our cadre ran it according to what they would have done over there. Yeah, that's it right there. There's one right there. That's what Cordell had. I don't have one of them. I got shot up instead.
And it looks like
you just showed that's stay boat right there. So yeah,
quite
we
the training.
We had McGuire rig. That's a stay boat outfit, but we had McGuire rig, which was you tied your own you went underneath your arms. They gave you a 5-foot piece of rope, and it either was for your Swiss seat. You tied your own Swiss seat, or underneath your armpits, you put a D-ring there, and a chopper would drop down. That's stay-boat right there. But
okay,
yeah, that's a different rig. But that's a McGuire. That's rather a Swiss seat of sorts. That right there. But it also can be it can also be the other without having. You put that rig on, you can do either rappelling or McGuire rig extraction.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You can do either one.
Very
because you got the D rings up high. You got your Swiss seat already with your D ring in position for rappelling on those. Wow. But ours, we had to tie our own McGuire rig underneath the armpits with a D ring here, or we tied our Swiss seat for rappelling, and it's your D rings down low on about your belt buckle area, and you still have your ruck on your back, of course.
Wow. That and then of course there's some of y'all doing some rappelling right there.
Well, we rappelled off of things like that. We didn't have that one right there, but they built a makeshift, like it was wooden one. But we also rappelled out of choppers from like about 300 feet.
Oh, wow.
They wanted to give us some extreme shit. So it wasn't just like that right there where there were guys hanging on the skids there. We did some extreme rappelling out of choppers, and to be honest, I didn't on any team I was on. I didn't do any rappel, but one of the missions, if we get to it, one of the missions I was on, we did come out by McGuire rig because they couldn't get an LZ, and we had to E&E. We had been on E&E for almost 2 days full. From one afternoon to beyond the next night into the midday about, and we couldn't get to the LZ. They wanted us to the alternative, or any of our alternates rather. And so we had to come out they had to drop it because they tried to get in. They were shooting the shit out of the bird. He said, the guys on station and they're over there. They have a limited amount of time and fuel. They got to get you out if they can.
And as we'll transition from Recondo, one of the viewers was curious. Do you remember what year, what class number of Recondo school you attended by chance?
It was April of 1970. Early April, like 1st or 2nd.
I've got some. I just found some footage that's online of a class from September 1970. So that's interesting. What we see is probably pretty close to what you experienced at Recondo School.
Well, I do have somewhere. I tried to find it, but I do have a picture of us right after we did there were only 7 of us left when the dust settled. They brought 6 deuce and halves full up, which is about 30 per deuce, out of Cameron Bay, and they tried to get about 10 people to quit a day, and they usually got 5 to 10 to quit. They'd be hauling them out of there back down. When all that was done and the dust settled after 2.5 weeks of it, there were 7 of us left. I graduated 3rd of 7. A guy by the name of Hancock graduated 1st. Tex Williams, the guy in the upper left of that one photograph, graduated 2nd. Cordell graduated 2nd. I'm sorry, and I graduated 3rd, and Tex was behind me.
Wow, only ended up with 7.
Yeah, 7 out of about. Cordell thinks 150. I'm not sure, but somewhere probably between 125 and 150 came up there, and these are guys that came out of grunt units mostly. That just wanted to, try to get the help because they thought it'd be better too. And Ed Bailey, which I told you about, he was over with some Harry missions in 1st Cav, almost got hit. Several of his buddies just got the snipers and bunker complexes got several of his buddies in the line company with the 1st Cav before he came over to us. Ed Bailey. He's a good dude too.
That name sounds very, very familiar. Ed Bailey.
Yeah. Well, he lives just outside of Fort Campbell, and when we go to reunions, he and I play golf together.
Wow, that's great. I'm glad y'all are still able to get together and hang out like that.
I'm glad we're still vertical and able to move.
True that. With you getting out of class and completing class, is there anything left, or are you immediately put on a team to start your snap-in patrols, or what's the next progress for?
Well, they want you to get right. You're graded. A lot of people don't know this, but it's one of the few schools that ever was. It's called You Bet Your Life, and the reason why they say that is because you had to be in a contact and graded by the team. And they would like it to be more, they'd like for it to be 3 contacts. So you go out there and the team that you're on grades you while you're out there as to whether you are proficient or not. You're sat or unsat, in other words. And they feel comfortable with you being on a team, or you're, I don't know, hiding your damn head and not doing your job, or, you're a klutz, and there's multiple reasons. Some of them more legitimate than that. You might accidentally trip, or you might snore, which is not a good thing.
No.
And in fact, my first team leader told me I'd be lucky. He said, if we hear you snore, you'll be lucky if you keep your teeth. And he said, if it's really bad, we'll slit your throat.
Ooh.
Kind of gets your attention,
Oh yeah, that's a quick attention getter.
Yeah. That's what he said, and I went, oh, whoops. And I didn't do much snoring.
I can imagine not. You'd stuff anything over you could over your face.
Oh man, in a New York minute, I'd choke myself out before they'd get to me, I think.
So
you get used to it. You just start sleeping really light. It is hardly sleep, but you have to get some.
Yeah, I can imagine it's very light sleep if it's sleep at all.
Especially if you've been in contact, or you're in an area where you're about to get in contact and you know it. You really have to be, noise discipline is essential.
So who, when you get back to the compound and officially become I don't know if y'all end up getting scrolled and getting the beret, but what team and who are you officially running with from now on when you officially get placed with a team?
Well, as it turned out, I was only on about 4 different teams. I did the majority of it, and that was originally the original team was Team 7-3, Team 7-1, Team 43, Team 44, maybe Team 45. I think I was supposed to be on that one, and I wasn't. But anyway, I was in 2nd platoon, and so my buddy Cordell was also for a little bit in the same platoon. So I thought we might get on the same team. We never saw each other after training. Wow. And Andrus, I never saw him after training because he went over to 1st platoon. And I think they kind of did it by your last name. Cordell and Andrus went over. They ended up 1st platoon. I was a Kilo back last name, so I'm over in 2nd platoon. But anyway, it just worked out that none of us after training, we didn't get to see each other anymore, except back in the rear once in a while. We might occasion to be on. You just, you're they were lying about the strength of our company. Company strength, which would have been maybe 70, 80, and is company strength for in combat. Not back in the rear would be about 100. I mean, in the States maybe 120, over there maybe 80. But we never were that strength. But they'd try to fool the enemy, and of course, if they were saying we're full strength, we were pulling missions based on full strength, and that kind of doesn't work out so good as far as. That's why I could get as many missions as I got. Cordell had like over 33 missions, I think. Tim Harper, I think that guy had like 60 some missions, but he was there for like over 2 years. There were some guys that had those kind of numbers. That's incredible, That's
insane.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You think about it. I mean, think about how many weeks there are in a year.
I mean, that's God.
Yeah.
I mean, that's barely time to rest.
Well, but here's the thing. You think about a week, and that's supposed to be your mission, right? But if you go out there and make contact the very first day, right when you're inserted, you're supposed SOP is you call in for your exfil or your extraction. And that's what my job was I was a RTO. I was the RTO at the end, 1-1 assistant team leader, but I was really most of the time just an RTO, and that was my job.
Did you have RTO training? Was that your specialty? Was combo?
Yeah. Well, they give it to everybody, but I was pretty good at that. So I understood the radios, and I understood how they had to work. And when a Lima whiskey, a long whip, got shot down, I immediately knew what happened. I'd hear and I'd look back and this one guy, Fisher, that was the medic that treated me. One time we're in a contact and we were taking heavy fire back in to us. And all of a sudden I hear shh, and I'm trying to get out. Oh shit. So I just for the hell of it, I look back, and the base of the Lima whiskey, they're in segments at the telescope. They've got they got a elastic down through the middle of them. It was shot off almost right over. It was right over top of my head right there. And I flashed it to Fisher, and so I hurry up quick. I had a spare, carried extra, that and the Sierra whiskey, the short whip, Lima whiskey's long whip, just for designators. And I gave Fisher said right up until one of the daggone reunions we were at, he used to bring that, and somebody stole one of that because you could see a half moon in that thing where the round went through. Just took that thing right off.
That is insane. I bet that was a sight to see, that whip before someone evil.
Well, you want to, on the same topic, you'd hear these snaps. They're like cracker balls, around your ears. And I was saying to Fisher, and when I first got there, and Weaver and some of the guys, and texting them, and I'd say, man, I'm hearing this damn snapping around my ears. They said, well, it's a good thing you're hearing that snapping, because those are rounds going past your hair, breaking the sound barrier. And it's good if you still hear them. That's why you got your head.
Holy cow.
So we heard those all the time. And your ruck, you'd come back in and you could de-exit. It'd be full of B-40, RPG-7. We'd get down behind the damn thing and hope that they didn't hit a box, because we alternated who carried the blasting caps for your claymores. You didn't want the blasting caps in the same proximity with a bunch of C4 or det cord. Wasn't a too good idea.
No.
So one guy in the team would carry, then he didn't carry that other shit, and you just hope that somebody didn't hit the plastic caps.
Lord have mercy. It sounds like but both with LERP / Ranger teams and the SOG teams and even the Force Recon teams we spoke with, having a good RTO is next to having a really good team leader. If you don't have a good RTO, your goose is going to get cooked pretty damn quick.
Well, I don't know if I was any good or not, because most of the guys that would have verified whether I was or not are dead. So I can sit here and say I was a good one.
Well, I was about to say you made it back and you carried it.
Well, so I made it back with holes in me. But the other guys, they still talk to me. So I guess I was good enough to still talk to me. They didn't hate me.
There you go. What's the I know we jumped right into a mission there. When you first, before you get to a team and everything, what is the standard loadout? Because we'll end up getting questions, I'm sure, about uniforms and such as this. What was a basic loadout and uniform for a H Company Ranger at this LERP at this time?
Okay, let's start with the BDUs, your basic utilities, your battle dress utility is BDU, right? Mm-hmm. So that would either be leaf pattern camo or tiger stripe, preferably tiger stripe. But tiger stripe was rare. It's almost like hen's teeth. So you're hunting for that, but you don't always get it. And sometimes the supply sergeant, maybe he's doing something with the black market or some shit. I don't know. But we seem to have, there were other companies that got tiger stripe. SEALs didn't seem to have any trouble getting tiger stripe. Some companies, maybe Lima or November Company Rangers, you mentioned Gary Linder when we were talking before. Yeah, there you go. See, some of them guys, you notice that there are some guys though in leaf pattern, and that's probably not their choice. It's just, that's what they got. Oh, and you're right there in that picture. You see, if you look carefully, you'll see a carabiner with a rope hanging down.
Oh, right here.
That rope you see right there is what I was telling you about. That's a piece of rope. That's how you did it. That's your McGuire rig and your Swiss seat for either repelling or your McGuire rig extraction. You took that off and you tied that around your ass and made yourself a Swiss seat, or you put it underneath your armpits, and that made you your extraction for your lift out on McGuire rig on exfil.
Wow, heavy duty.
Yeah,
that's a good equipment.
And those son of bitches there in that picture there they're rucked out light. I can see from that ruck on that dude on the right there. He ain't got shit in there. He might be a team leader. Might be 1-0. He's putting it off on his team, or else that's a very that ain't much of a mission there.
I think they were doing a POW snatch because Mr. Dan's got some prisoners. I'm just
telling you don't look like that when when you got your full ruck on. You're going to be at 100. Oh, you just went down through Camp Gorvad. Right there. That's H Company.
See if I can zoom in a bit.
Yeah, that's it. That's over a company area. If you kill for let me see if I can quote what's hanging over the company area there. See, if you kill for pleasure, you're a sadist. If you kill for money, you're a mercenary. If you kill for both, you're a ranger. That's what it says.
That's it. I wish I had the sign, and I might find it by the time we get done, but that is one of my all-time favorite unit signs hanging up. I love that sign. Yeah. Cool. So while we're on it, uniform question wise, you kind of answered it, but would this be called the ERDL? That always pops up occasionally. People asking about Tiger Stripe versus ERDL, or what would that be called, that camo pattern there?
All I ever heard it called, and I was a leaf pattern. I don't know about any specific designator other than leaf pattern versus Tiger Stripe. Now, there's some people maybe that have more knowledge of the nomenclature, and that's what that's called if you delineate, but I don't know that. Listen, go back up a minute. I want to see that weapon. I'm trying to figure out what that guy's carrying there. I can see the guy on the right's got a 16, but that looks on the left.
Maybe an AK. He's got
it looks like maybe an AK para with the wire stock.
I believe you are correct, because he's got a AK or a SKS chest rig on.
Well, that's what Cordell always did. If he could get the front loaded NVA ammo pouches, man, he loved that, because we didn't get onto that till I carried canteen covers, and I could load 7 or 8 to a canteen cover. And then I had the regular ones would take 5, and we got into contacts where I wished I had more. So I started carrying 35 to 40 loaded magazines. Some guys only carried like 25, but after you get close to running out of ammo, you'll do almost anything to have more ammo. And the only two things, ammo and water, that everything else can take a hike. Well, maybe claymores and frags, but I don't know.
We notice most of the guys here are using AKs, 16s, but occasionally a Car 15. There's a grease gun. Wow.
I tried a Car 15. I tried grease gun. Problem with grease gun, it was a cool weapon and good enough for the context we had. The problem you had was it's a 45 caliber, and also the magazines were hard to get enough magazines because it was basically a World War II weapon. Mm-hmm. And we just didn't have, you could get 20 or 25 magazines. I wanted more than that. And it was kind of heavy. Your mags were heavier than, you could carry a shitload more ammo if you wanted to carry a car or a regular M16, Mm-hmm. So that became an issue. More ammo. Okay, you got more ammo, and if the weapon's halfway dependable, or an AK, AKs get real hot in the contact. If you start really shooting with them, they get hot. They'll burn the shit out of that wood up on top there.
We've just recently started, or I've just recently started diving into a little more of the LERPs and the Ranger history since I've started interviewing you guys, and we've come across here recently some guys, and I'm not sure what year this is, but were you guys at this point in time? Did y'all have enough time, or were y'all doing in-country sniper school? Was there a sniper school for you guys that y'all would do?
I have to say, Bud, not to my knowledge. I know that I heard. I won't say I know it. He's got a starlight scope on top of there, though, and it looks like to me. And I'll tell you what, you don't want that son of a bitch. It's heavy as hell. Yes. It does kind of help you own the night. Now they got NVG, of course, night vision goggles, and that thing was ANPVS2. That's the addition it was. Now they're up to like, I don't know, 13 or something with NVGs. So what you'd usually see, and that's he's also got a 16 with a silencer on it. Normally the rig would be the XM21 system with a unital scope. Unital wasn't the best scope, but it was one of the best ones back then, but the XM21 is just a tightened up M14.
I've got a
XM21. That's it right there. And that's not a unital on there.
No,
that is not a unital. Unital's a long scope.
Yes, sir, long and skinny, isn't it?
That might be a Redfield or I don't know. But anyway, we had that particular weapon in our company. We didn't get into long shooting across. We could have in Cambodia, but we didn't. We didn't carry that. We chose to carry, if we were going to carry an extra weapon, we wanted the chunker and maybe carry a couple of extra laws, because one of them would usually fail.
Oh, yeah, unfortunately, we've heard bad things.
You hit the detent and you go through your quick, overhaul and you click and you got another malfunction. You're going, oh shit.
Jeez.
You get another one up there if you can. But
with the heavy teams, and we'll get into some of, because you've got some amazing mission stories here. Would heavy teams, because you had mentioned offline, you've got a great photo, I think, of a heavy team. Did y'all carry M60s out when y'all would go out heavy, or was that just a special circumstance?
Ordinarily, a heavy team would be something like, let's say, aircraft security. The missions that we pulled for SOG, and so there's going to be some argument about that among, I don't know, I don't give a shit who, but some guys say, oh no, you guys never pulled any SOG missions. Well, you talk to some guys in November Company, Lima Company, our company. We were inserted out of DCPS, Quan Loy rather, some of Firebase David. And the problem was that SF couldn't produce enough guys that were trained up to do a BDA, to do a prisoner snatch, a wiretap, aircraft security, hunter killers,
sensor placement.
Yeah. And retrieval of, say, your sensing devices and shit like that, your sonic devices. And I didn't do any of those, but some guys did. And, but we did, like I told you that, our unit that normally did the aircraft security was called the Apache Blues, and you interviewed Craig Jorgensen and Beal and them, and yes, I knew them. I knew those guys.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah, and they'd been Court Jorgensen had been in H Company Rangers before, and it was on a terrible mission. And after he got back from hospital and shit, he went over to Apache Blues. Yeah.
Great book on that as well, called if I've got it here somewhere. I want to say it's MIA in Cambodia, but all you have to do is Google Mr. Craig's name, and if something along that lines, and it covers not only the Rangers' history leading up into all of these men going from H Company, which Mr. Jim was a part of and Mr. Craig was a part of, as he said, they go to the Apache Blues, and it's a mission saving some LRPs. So great story. But nonetheless, Mr. Jim is talking here about missions that they were doing. And yes, is me doing a SOG research for the past 5-6 years now. Not only have I read, but I've spoken to Gary Linder, and I've spoken to they
quote him at Ranger School.
Oh, absolutely. And I've spoken to a in-company, November company ranger who ended up with SOG at CCC. And before he went to SOG, he ran missions supporting SOG. So it did happen. I can tell you that for a fact.
Well, and since you mentioned that mission,
and Quan Loy for that matter is a SOG launch site.
Okay, so if you look up in 1970, if you look up, I've actually got the printout of it. They talk about the 53rd Medical. They set up an emergency station there, but along with the emergency station, it's called a clearing station, DCPS Quan Loy. And that's the clearing station med for 53rd evac, IE/24th evac. They worked together in conjunction for people who were critically wounded, seriously wounded, coming out because they knew somebody like suck chest wound, somebody with arterial bleeding, they might make it down if they can get a tourniquet on them and get enough blood into them at the clearing station. But if they don't get that on them, they can't survive the ride down to, say, some place like Saigon. It's too far, so they'd be dead. And I almost bled out. So anyhow, but Andrus, the guy I told you about, I went through training. He's the guy on that mission over there, MIA. He's one of the few survivors of that. And the rest of the guys, there's only 2 other survivors. Clark was his name, and the other one was Hancock. Deverton, Cochran, Laker, and Voorhees killed and missing. MIA, yeah.
Terrible story, but a heroic tale nonetheless. Getting those guys out of there.
That's you need to interview them. That was a harrowing experience that they went through. They walked right up on a bunker complex and they were in deep shit.
I would be honored to. I'm trying to get Mr. Craig to help me out with any and all LRPs or Apache Blues that are still around. I would be absolutely honored to speak to them. And
well, he knows a bunch of them. He and
Mr. Gary are the Ranger phone book guys.
yeah.
So what we had a question that was dealing with. And kind of getting into your side of the things, but one of them was saying, what was your first mission and what was it like for you personally?
Well, the first mission I was on was probably the only mission first mission I was in contact. Very first mission out was in contact, and we were in Vietnam. We weren't in Cambodia. Only had 3 missions inside Vietnam. The rest were all in Cambodia. Of the 13 missions, a nice lucky number, I guess. The first one was we were out longer than we normally would because the guy that I went out with on that mission was he liked to get in contact. He had a wish for it, and that's what we were there for. So he liked that. His name was Rick Wynn, and he's not in that picture because that was a different team. The team leader on that particular picture you've got up there, the guy next to the guy with a hat with the black hair. No, the other way. There you go. That's Ed Parton, and he was the team leader on that mission. And the guy next to him with a hat was named Smith. If you go over to the left, that's a Smith. So that's Ron Smith. You got the cursor on. And if you move over to the other guy, his name was Dennis Smith. And there was yet another Smith who's a friend of mine, lives up in Washington, who's almost best friends with Craig Jorgensen. His name, he we called him Smitty. So you got and his name was Daryl Smith.
Jeez. Dennis, Daryl, and I've already forgotten
Ron.
Good
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
The Smiths. Wow. And
Yeah.
who was this gentleman? I forgot his name.
That's
that
me.
you mentioned. That's you down here. Wow.
That's me. Yeah.
Jeez, you were a stout man in your day. All y'all were actually. Good Lord, y'all are all fairly big for lerps.
Yeah. Well, that picture probably it might have been taken with a wide angle lens because I looked bigger than them, but I wasn't really much bigger than them. It's just I'm closer to the camera.
I was about to say, I just noticed the gap.
Yeah, there's pretty good. I'm down in front, and I'm about maybe 3 feet in front of them. So, and they wanted it tight. They usually try to take a team picture because if you got shot up, which we did, they had something to say who all the team members were, and maybe they could help to identify by that or whatever, or send it to the family or something. There was things like that. It was kind of it wasn't so much for us for vanity or anything. It was more about something to do with if you got the shit shot out of you, you know, that maybe there'd be something to send back to the family and also identify the bodies and stuff, maybe buy something that's on it. Because sometimes there's not much left, you know.
Jeez Louise, that takes on a whole new thing.
You get hit by a claymore, and there won't be much left of you, of your uniform or anything.
No, not when it bush hogs the entire jungle the way it does. I can't imagine what it does to a human body.
Even ours, the Soviet claymore was much bigger than ours. Ours was only 2.5 pounds of C4 with 700 ball bearings in front of the plate and the back blast area. A Soviet circular claymore was put out exactly almost 2 feet across, about 3 inches thick, with their equivalent of C4, Semtex. Semtex is almost the exact equivalent of C4, European use of the same basic plastic explosive, and just a lot more shit coming your way.
I've seen some and heard from the SOG gentlemen who ran into them, and they were gnarly.
Yeah. Luckily, I wasn't on the receiving end of that, or I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. You'd be talking to a hat, maybe.
that is terrifying. Yeah, absolutely terrifying.
Well, it's terrifying to think about, but you couldn't dwell on that. You know all that shit was out there. You just didn't think about it. You just nah, you know.
You couldn't. You wouldn't be able to run your mission. I mean,
no. If you thought about all some of that stuff would get to you maybe afterwards, and you realize how you see all your ruck all riddled with holes in it and stuff, or maybe you got a couple pieces of shrapnel in you. See, we didn't go out there to get Purple Hearts, but I probably could have had at least 5. And I mean, I had one. I talk about claymores. I had one. This guy named Weaver. He was a good dude. He's passed now, but him and Wynn didn't get along very well. Not many of us did. He was kind of an intense dude, but especially in the rear or on a contact. He put a claymore out right in front of me, in front of a log, and he didn't tell me. And it was a big ass log, about 2.5 feet high, but pithy, not real solid, kind of pithy, you know, rubbery like, you know. So he put the claymore right in front of it, probably thinking that it would definitely stop the blast of a claymore in the back blast. So when that's how we'd initiate a ambush. He didn't hit it on the first. We hit the clackers, set them off, right? Command detonate, and we'd usually have them daisy chain together if we wanted a bunch of them to go at once, or we'd have some down on the ends, and they'd be aimed, you know, in case somebody's trying to get away. You initiate, try to control the kill zone, you know, and maybe have a couple over a hill in case somebody decide they're going to run away. There's a little surprise for them down there. So anyhow, he put one out right in front of me, blew a hole right through this log about that big. And I'm sitting there and there's smoke and shit and I can't hear anything. And I think there's mud all over my face. I'm going like this. I keep wiping this damn mud. I keep wiping the mud and it's just all over my face. And I'm going, what the hell? I can't get it off. I can't hear. And I'm supposed to be the RTO. And I'm trying to turn the damn, and I called the contact in already because he didn't hit it on the first go round. So I got the contact called in. I actually spoke to him. You know, I said this, that team was 7-1. So I said, team 7-1 contact, you know, I'm screaming this shit in the radio, in the handset and all of a sudden, boom. And so Fisher down at the other end looks over at me and he keeps pointing to me like this. And I'm going, it's like the movie with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. You know, one can't hear and the other one can't see. And I'm going, you dumbass, I can't hear you. And he's going like this. And I'm going, what the fuck? I'm trying to shoot and call, you know, talk, and I can't talk. So I just threw the handset down, try to give it off to a guy next to me. He's shooting, throwing frags over top of the damn log and shit. And he crawls down there to me and he kind of goes like this. And so he reaches out and he does this and shows me his hand. It's all blood. There's blood all down my face, and that's what I thought was mud. And it was kind of stinging up over my eye. And he reaches out and he goes like this, you know, and we're in the middle of a contact, but he's trying to kind of doctor me because he don't know if I can see out of my eye or not. So he pulls this chunk of shit out of my head, and it's a piece of the claymore, the plastic in the back of the claymore, they're convex.
The little.
And it blew a chunk of that right through the backblast off them is extreme. As a demonstration, and when you're going through training, they set up ammo crates behind one, and when they detonate it, it'll blow those ammo crates to smithereens.
Oh yeah.
So they have a significant backblast you have to be aware of.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyway, that was one. I had another one in my knee. You know, I had him on my back, piece of shrapnel, and we all did that. I'm not just saying me. There's a lot of us, and we just get team medic, doctor you up, or you go over to the aid station for a little bit, and they do something to stitch you up or something. You go back out, and you know, it was up to the team leader. If he wanted to put you in for a Purple Heart or whatever the hell he wanted, he did, and if he didn't, that was our job. Go back. It's like construction. You go out there and you cut your hand a little bit and you don't go, hey, how can I have a Purple Heart? Oh, I stapled myself, you know. Oh, goddamn, I don't know. You whine and piss around, you know.
We had a question since we're talking about missions and the radio. The viewer Jed was curious what it was like your first time calling in or learning to call fire for both TAC air and artillery.
Okay. Artillery, the only time I ever called it was in Vietnam on one of the missions there. And the reason why I called was kind of a cheater. We couldn't find our way. It was so damn dense. It was terrible. We couldn't see anything. We didn't know where in the shit we were at. And so I cheated and called in for a marking round. And I called what I thought was far enough off of us so the goddamn Willie Pete wouldn't drop right on top of us. So I called for a marking round. I said, I need one more, you know. I'm talking to FDC. And so I'm telling them, so we adjusted up. We got two. And so we marked where they were, and the impact area, from the impact areas that we were hitting, we were able to do a resection where you get the two, intersecting points coming off the azimuth you shot to what you thought was where it landed. And you could see the plume. We could see the plume up above it. See, you're pretty close. So got a pretty good idea where you're at then. And then maybe you get lucky and you find some land feature. So, but then TAC Air did call gunships in or snakes and a pink team. we were in a bad contact, and you didn't get those all the time. You didn't get you weren't lucky enough to get them on your asset list in your SOI book. SOI is standard operating instruction. Those are your codes and what you get. Maybe I don't know if I should be saying that, but anyhow, come to think of it, I might just step on my dick here, but
you
anyway,
you're fine.
I just get going, and I forgot that sometimes you shouldn't. There's some things you shouldn't say.
You didn't give enough away. You're good. You're good.
So anyhow, what you would do is, you had a special radio. You'd say like, I can remember this one guy anyway. His call sign was Yankee Deuce. So he'd say, Team 7-1, Team 7. Right? I call and bring him up on the regular radio on the Prick 25, and it'd say, I don't know, fast mover, or whatever the hell, whatever I want, or sometimes it wouldn't be that, some, I don't know, blue or whatever, some code, or can't remember exactly how that went, but you'd bring them up and then they'd say, okay, unknown station, come up, you'd tell you to go to your alternate, which meant go to the ANPRC 10 ultra high frequency, and then they'd say unknown station, come up voice. So then you'd identify yourself again. This is Team 7-1. I have you, Lima Charlie, how me? He'd say 5x5. Are you 7-1? And I'd say 7-1 Alpha, which is the actual right then. And he'd say, this is Yankee Deuce. And I'd say, what do you got? He'd say, I got nails. I got, I got the gal. I got the gal. I got, and they go, oh shit, let's dance with nails, or that's, so that the top secret, that was Beehive round, had flechettes in it, and I shouldn't say on here what the top secret name code was for that, because I knew what it was, but I won't say it on here because I don't know if that's maybe still something. Mm-hmm. But Beehive or flechette rounds, that's what most guys knew them as. We knew the top secret name for it, but I can't say it. Mm-hmm. And it started with a C, but I won't say anything more than that. My memory just went blank. But anyhow, there was a mission where they literally broke their backs with nails. And I called for it. And another time, it was at night, and we said, I asked them to piss blood because their minigun would have a tracer 1 every 7, and it looked like a solid line to the ground because it was 6,000 rounds a minute, and that's 1 round in every square foot of a football field. And I'll tell you, sometimes they'd you'd have hot brass all over you, and you'd be sitting there, God damn, but you didn't care because the brass is just raining down on you. It hurt too.
Oh, I can imagine that hot as hell.
But they, and only for a second because they're moving. But they'd kick at. I don't remember how they did it with the collective and the cyclic, but they kick that tail and kind of move back and forth, almost like you're taking a piss. And they'd
just
move back,
rake it,
and that red line would be coming down there, boy. And I'll tell you what, all of a sudden you didn't have much fire coming your way. Because they'd tear their ass up, and your hair would stand up on the back of your neck. You'd just be going, you felt like jumping up and down, get out of your damn hide and jump up and down. Because you're so happy to get those bastards off them because they're usually pretty close to danger close.
Oh, I can imagine what that sight must have looked like. That must have been just awe-inspiring. Just woo. Yep. You had mentioned some two missions that you wanted to talk about, but someone had there are 3 more for later on, but one was dealing with what would you label the craziest mission that you participated in?
Well, that would be a close one between the 2 E&Es in Cambodia and the very last one I was on where I got the sucking chest wound, but if I flip a coin, it would have been the one where we made contact actually 3 times. The first contact, we were up on they inserted us, and we were kind of worried about it because we didn't get inserted the first time, which was kind of common. You don't really like a second one because, see, the NVA especially, you're over, when we're in Cambodia, I'm talking about Cambodia right now. When you're over there, you're pretty lucky because they don't think there's any friendlies over there. So they're more careless. But they're not stupid, and they're trained from the time they're kids. Think about, okay, the Chinese were there, the Japanese were there, the French were there. They fought 4 different regimes or enemies, and they've been doing this for a couple hundred years. And so the infrastructure is immense, not only in the cave systems and all the know-how of how different enemies or armies operate, but also that they kind of know your even our techniques. They learned how we did things, and so they kind of have shit. So anyway, if you keep doing insertions or trying to put somebody in, they're going to go, at first they're going to go, oh, maybe there's just a aircraft, a helicopter flying over there just trying to see us or whatever. Well, anyhow, if you do it often enough and you don't go in, then they start putting out LZ watchers, wood cutters and wood knockers and signal shot guys, and they've got them watching every damn possible LZ that you could be put in on, and also every extraction site, and maybe any land terrain feature like a river or whatever, that they might watch those because they figure, well, push comes to shove, you're going to want a feature, so they might be watching along the edge of something like that. So anyhow, they put us in. We don't think that that's what happened, but we got in late in the day. We were put in probably about almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it gets dark pretty quick over there. So in the mountains there, and we got put in kind of late. We immediately got contact. We started a firefight, and we kicked their ass pretty good because it was accidental. The team leader and the 1-0 rather, and 1-1, which was normally he would stay back maybe, but both of them went out, and also one other guy, and then he ended up going out. So I was the only one back with our gear. I was sitting back there with our gear. So all 4 guys are out there, and they're clover leafing, for maybe a night halt, and thinking about near this one trail where we'd seen some activity in boots and shit and all that, seen some signs, a lot of signs. So we thought that'd be pretty good. So they were checking. You're supposed to go out and check it out. So they were gonna, I guess they were trying to come back, and they stumbled on an enemy. So they got in a firefight. So they're running back to me, and I hear shooting and yelling and shit. And I want to fire, but I don't know who I'm shooting at. And I can see heads, but I can't tell where our guys are, so I don't want to shoot. So all I did was just stuck the butt of the M16 up to show them where our equipment was, because they're trying to get back to me to where they can get more, more of everything, because they only got their LBE on. They've only got their load bearing equipment on, because they just went out, they go out light and leave your ruck and all that shit back with me. So, because I had the radio, and anyway, they come back. So we moved out of that hide, and I'd called in contact, and so that's supposed to be, you're out of there because you're compromised. They know you're there. You've used up some of your ammo. You're not a lot, but you've used up some of it. I called in the contact, called for extraction or exfil, and Wynn called me off of it. And he said, oh, we can stay in, and so the SOP said you got extracted, but he argued and told and this guy was hungry for body counts. So he says, you think you can stay in and get more? He says, yeah. So that was wrong, and we all knew it, the rest of us, because you're only 5 or 6 guys, and you got a lot of hubris, you got a lot of balls to say that you're going to try to whip ass on a bigger unit. Once they find out where you're at, and if they can call you out in a firefight, they know what weapons you got and where they are too, because they're experienced. They hear the report of the weapon, and they can identify what the hell it is and where it's coming from. They know if they can get everybody in the team to fire, they're a happy camper, because now they know exactly what you got and where you are
and how many of you there are.
Exactly right, and they're going to come kick your ass. There ain't no doubt about it. They are hardcore. They will not back. The NVA would not back off from a fight. They'll hook up to you. The old saying was, grab their belt buckles and hang on.
Damn.
So, yeah. So anyhow, we were in it. We just dealt with the eye. We were all pissed and whatever. Pucker factor's definitely coming up because we're in there. They know where we're at now. And so we're moved over to a trail, and they were coming down, and they were more alert than usual. And we hit them. We shouldn't have. We hit them, but they might have been, I don't know if they were point element or whatever, but the other unit didn't come up right away because we started getting more fire from down below. And then me and a couple of the guys looked over this damn precipice down. We were on the military crest. We could see down there, and here these guys are trying to get a 51 cal. They're trying to get it up, trying to move up. So we started raining damn grenades down on them, that missionaire was the one that let's see, I think that's the one where I got the damn chunk of claymore in my head from the initial blast off that one. We blew on that trail. So that let's see, they had the wheel gun. They're coming, and we rained down on them, and then they were trying to come up and around and get up this lesser severity and peak, the way up to us. And so we killed some more of them there, and then we had to run. We checked some bodies. We killed a couple of guys up close, real close, and we searched their bodies, and we got some intel. It was pretty good. One guy was an officer. We killed an officer, and one of the guys got I gave the guy had a Makarov, and Fisher got that, and so we started moving over, going away from there, down. We were just like trying to there was a technique we called leapfrog. So you just the last guy, he fires a full mag on full grease, and he runs all the way up the front. You just keep doing that. Try to get a little space. You're laying down a base of fire. You're trying to run up. So we do that. Try to get away from them. We did get enough little space in, and then we set up an automatic for them, Claymore, and we were moving, and they didn't come. They weren't real close to us yet, and somebody hit that. And so we kind of snickered a little bit. No time to really laugh that much, but we just a little snicker because we figured they blew themselves apart, some of them. Anyway, they kept, man, then they got closer to us, and they were sweeping, they were doing all kinds of shit. We were going to a hide, and we'd move a little bit and crawl on our bellies, crawl on our hands and knees, and we'd move off to them. We'd see the major bunch of them coming, and because of Cambodia, one thing about it was it's kind of sparse. It's really kind of hard to hide, but it's also pretty good. You can see where they're at. You can hear them. They're pretty good about being quiet, but you can hear them still, like crunching. Maybe somebody gets kind of careless and steps on a stick or log, a twig or something. Anyway, we get to almost nighttime. I'm trying to get us extracted again. And when this time he's not saying anything, he's saying, okay. Finally, he's agreeing that we need to get out. We've used up now over half of our ammo. We've used up, each of us carried 6 frags. Most of us carried between 25 and 40 magazines. We've used up half of that or more. Some of us are down to some of us only some are down to 10 magazines. And I was down to about 15 magazines, I guess. And I didn't like being there. 10 or 15 magazines goes pretty quick. So used up maybe, I only had maybe 2 frags left. Used up used up at least, I had 2 Claymores. I used up one of them. So I had one left. And that's when I started carrying more Claymores too. But anyway, we started going, and Wynn said maybe we could get away from them. We went down in this stream. And I said, well, we're going to lose commo. He said, I see a stream down there. We might be able to hide down there for the night. So we went down there. We were sitting in a stream, really slow moving. It was like pond water, no movement at all. And I found a clump of bamboo and put the Lima whiskey, the long whip, up in it, because it would look like a piece of the bamboo, and it's green, the long whip. So it was up. Didn't have any commo. No big surprise, because we're down now. We've reduced our line of sight, and it's hills over there, so it's pretty. You got to be really up on top almost to get above the curvature of the earth. Anything will block you. Line of sight radio. So anyhow, I'm pretty shit out of luck. I did luckily get a little bit of atmospheric skip when it turned dark, and I don't know. I think they heard me, but we didn't get much calm. Anyway, we're sitting in this damn thing, and I'm keep adjusting squelch because it sounds like a jet to me, and it's pitch black, and all of a sudden I hear, first I'm sitting in the water. We're in the water about up to your below a couple inches, 3 or 4 inches below your tits, but above your waist, sitting in the water. I had the radio up a little bit, try to keep it out of the water. There was 2 logs, a big log right behind me and a smaller log, and I set it up on that, had it leaning. I had so that the antenna would be in the bamboo. So anyway, I feel this movement in the water, and I'm sitting there, and I feel this kind of surge, and I'm going, uh-oh, what the hell is that? And it's surging, and then all of a sudden I hear splook, splook, and it's the bank caving in, and I know that somebody's in the water for sure with us, and that's why I'm feeling this surge in the water, because the water's not flowing real fast. It's just real still, and it's pitch black, luckily for us, but also I couldn't see anybody there. And I could feel it getting closer. The surge is getting stronger. So there's more than one guy coming in the thing. And so me and this guy next to me, he kind of scoots over a little. We touched each other, and I grabbed him, and he knew it too. We didn't talk because we couldn't see, but I talked to him, and I kind of tapped him twice, and he tapped back. In other words, he knew. And all of a sudden, we're getting water and mud on us. And I think the guy might have even stepped on my damn, slid off my leg, and I'm not sure if he knew he did that or not. I think he might have been as scared as I was. I thought my heartbeat or my breathing was I thought my heart was gonna come out of my chest, and I couldn't. I was thinking, could I knife him and get him in the artery? I'm going, hell no, you can't get up to his mouth. And then they got a tap signal, in between each other. You're not going to do that, stupid. If I shoot him, for sure they know where we're at, and here they come. So you're just sitting there and you can't do shit. I thought, could I? No, can't do that, because these other guys, they're in communication. It's a tap signal or tug signal between them on rope. I don't know what they had. They had something. They weren't talking. They were really good. But anyway, they went on through us and apparently didn't know or didn't want to know. Some of them maybe didn't want to know with us what the hell, because we'd already killed a bunch of them. Anyway, I said to one of my buddies, I think it was Fisher, I said, let's try to 90 him. He said, what? I was whispering to him, cut my hand over. I said, I think we could go off their ass, go up over the hill, but do 2 things. They already think that they identified where we were, and they think they've cleared it. So if we're behind them and they already cleared it, and the other thing is maybe I can get commo up there, and so maybe we can get up on top and I get comm, and we will for a little bit have they'll think they already swept that area, and so we went crawled out of there and slithered up. Goddamn, I don't know how far we crawled, and then we on our knees. We don't know what we're crawling over or what we're in or anything. You don't know what the hell's out there. Shit, there's cobras. There's I don't know. There's all kinds of nasty bugs and scorpions and shit, but you don't give a shit about that because somebody it's a little more real. You know for sure that's going to kill you. The other part you might live through, but so anyway, we went up the hill and I got calm. I told them that we approximately where we were. I didn't because it's black. I didn't know, but I've my last, on my acetate, I had my last mark. I couldn't see it. I didn't want to pull a light out and go to somebody will say, oh, when you use your red light under a poncho? No, not when you got enemy that close. I ain't doing that. So somebody will probably say that. Oh, you should have used your light under a poncho. Well, why don't you fucking do it?
Yeah, no.
That's my answer to that.
that works in platoon and all that. But
yeah, or when you're in training,
Yeah.
No. But anyway, red light, no, and a light under a poncho, no. So I just thought, I'll do the best. I didn't make the ultimate decisions anyway. I was, like I said, I was just an RTO on that mission. So anyhow, that part turned out to be right. And I talked to him. I told him the alternates that I had on my SOI. They came back to me and told me what one we should be at. And when we got over there, we got into a hide. We were lucky. Around an alternate LZ, they started coming in. We thought we were going to get exfilled. The birds came in and they had a gunship with them. They had to slick trying to get us out, and they were taking heavy fire around this thing. And they said, "Can't do it." So that's one I was telling you about. Not only was it the damn the stream and that horror, but we couldn't. And then we had to go out by McGuire Rig. The guy said, "Look, we don't see any alternates right here, but if you move over," he told us the direction to take, how far to go. He said, "I'll drop a line down over there for you guys, and you hook on, and we'll jerk your ass out." He said, "There's some low trees." He said, "I can drop it down for you, and you won't have, the huge tall, because you don't want the line in a bunch of really tall trees. You want low." But he couldn't get in because there's enough to where his rotors couldn't get in. So he took us out so we had to tie that Swiss seat I told you about. And we went out like that, and we did this in front of our face, crossed our legs, and kissed off of trees going out, and he banged the shit out of it because he dips his nose. He's trying to get altitude and try to get forward airspeed, but until he gets it and he wants to get going as quick as he can, unfortunately, that means you might get kissed a few times with a few branches. So some of us were a little bit beat up.
Do you know what, that was one of the questions here. Do you happen to know what air unit was supporting you guys? And also the backup was, do you happen to know what FAC unit supported y'all?
I don't remember, but when you bring up the forward air controller, that's cool because those were Broncos that I remember. Okay. We also had Bird Dog, which was just like a Piper Cub,
little Cessna, yeah,
or Cessna. I don't know, maybe because I don't know for sure on the type of plane on that, because I just saw a little bitty ass plane that I wouldn't want to be in. They didn't have any armament. Maybe they had a 16 or something, or I don't know what they had, but they didn't have. Those guys had balls, and they would shoot at them, but they would help us because they would spot them. We'd pop smoke or something, and they'd help us get either if we were. Except in Vietnam, we were never in range of artillery. That was a problem. Over in Cambodia, you were too far out. Your gun range is like a 105 is like 5 miles, and your your 8-inch guns is like 11 miles, and so you don't have a long tom. Those are like 22 miles. You don't have any of that shit over there. So, that's not very, hell, we were way over 20 miles over the border. So
that ain't going to help at all.
Ain't going to help shit. You can't, naval gunfire is 23 miles and you convert to grid. That's something I never did, but I knew how to do it. Could have got that. Now that would have been interesting. Have a Volkswagen full of high explosive coming in, about over 2,000 pounds, the size of a Volkswagen. You hear it coming. Naval gunfire. Never got to do it, but sounds cool.
We had a Force Recon vet who called it in, and he said it was one hell of a sight to see that thing flying from the New Jersey.
I'll bet. And that would have been 16-inch gun. Yeah, New Jersey.
Oof.
Yeah. He had to convert to grid though.
Oh yeah. He said it took him. There was such a large massing. It took him 2 or 3, and then they finally got it on, and they were still so badly dispersed that it ended up wiping out probably a platoon or so just with one shell. Just obliterated that formation.
Well, I'll say one thing. From what I heard, like I said, I never called it, but I heard that their gunfire was very accurate, very accurate. If you call for danger close, you better be prepared. It will be danger close. The burst radius, you better know what it is. Sometimes you don't have a choice. You got to do what you got to do to try, because they try to get as close to us as they could. Like I said, grab their effing belt buckle and hang on.
Yeah. That's the Marine vet said, and boy, when he radioed back that they finally wiped somebody out, he said he could hear yelling through the headset of the boys on the gunner crew yelling, and he said they were damn good. That's for sure, like you said.
Yeah.
So you did not have much interaction with any of the pilots or the air crews that supported you guys?
We were, to be honest with you, we were not supposed to use any of that except in almost like what you'd call a broken arrow situation. We were not supposed to use that ultra high frequency radio. That's why I only have a couple missions I can tell you about that had that, where we were in such deep shit, like the 2 E&Es we had close air, and we had either Cobra or gunships, or we had one case they were going to bounce a fast mover for us, which is an F4, I guess, but we tried to get by with just whatever they had, whatever the Cav had as an asset list for us, where they would actually, we did have the slicks, we did have the gunships, we did have the Cobras, the snakes, and or a pink team sometimes, where you have a Loach down low and you have a Cobra up high, and they would try to draw fire, and the Cobra would swoop down and bust their ass.
Some amazing stories. We've spoken with a Loach pilot who participated in it on a hunter killer pink team, and boy, those are some wild stories there.
Yeah, snake drivers. I always wanted to. I thought I'd always like to get a ride with a snake driver. And I knew a couple of them, and try to get a ride. But shit, we didn't have any time to go over. We're just sitting around. I would have loved to try to get in one of them damn things and see what that's like at night. Because one guy says, if you can get a night off, you can go out. And I said, oh shit. But that was a pipe dream.
Too busy.
Yeah, too busy.
We will have a few questions here, but did you we're at the hour and a half mark. Did you want to cover your E&Es, or did we already cover one? Or
covered one. That was one. The one with we had a McGuire rig. The other one we got out on that one too. But it was also a situation where once again, both times it was that was a failure in leadership right there. He knew the SOP. We knew the SOP. Even higher knew the SOP, except that the colonel we happened to have at that time was more concerned with body count than he was with us. And and he should have been going, hey boys, you know, you're not a goddamn company size, you're not a battalion size, you're 5 to 6 men, and you have a life expectancy of less than 30 seconds once you are in contact and you let the enemy know where you're at. Your life expectancy meter starts running right then, and you better get your ass out of there. That's what they told us in training, and that was right. Those guys, the 1-0s that told us that, you're calling for exfil when you hit contact. That's it. That's SOP, and you stick to it. But this guy, he ignored it, and I'm surprised it's just because the guys on the team were so damn good, and we were lucky, also very lucky, and we had good assets. The first Cav, man, they came right in there to help us. Because we had air mobile capability, I think we had it so quick. A lot of other guys had to wait. Air Cav, man, they were right there in Phuc Vinh, and they were bouncing birds over. They had some sitting over on the Cambodian border during the invasion. They were right there at Quan Loy waiting to go, you know, and they could bounce on out to you pretty quick. Phuc Vinh was on over, you know, so.
Were the Apache Blues ever coming in for y'all? Or
you bet. Yeah. Apache Blues, yep. QRF, Quick Reaction Force, yes, sir. Absolutely.
Now, I know they went in on Cambodia on this one. Were some of your Cambodia missions, did they ever have to come in and help y'all on those?
No, well, on the ones where we were on E&E, they would have, except that what you're really doing then is you're just giving the NVA a chance to kill more people. It was better to get the close air support from the aircraft than to bounce another bunch of people in that aren't enough to fight a damn company size or something. You're just putting them in whereas
meat grinder.
Yes, a smaller team is going to remain hidden easier. Anytime you put a bunch of guys in, you better really have put a bunch of guys in. You better put a company size or some goddamn thing if you're going to do that kind of QRF. In Cambodia, are you shitting me? These guys are it's like an anthill.
Just you're talking never-ending supply.
we had a little bit of hubris, you know. We thought we had bigger balls than we really did, and I say that in the nicest kind of way for the guys that are listening or that were actually doing it. But really, when it comes down to it, we were up against some odds that we really now probably would calculate and go, "Oh my God, boy, we really were stupid." but you know, we were young and dumb, and you know, I won't say the rest, but we had some fun doing it, and sometimes scared the shit out of you. But that's the adrenaline, man. It was like you get back in the rear, you couldn't wait to get out of the field, and you sit there for a little bit and you go, man, you know, I hope we get another mission. You couldn't wait to get back out there, and it was kind of, I don't know how to say it. There was no time like it in anything I did commercial diving after and some dangerous shit in that, but
I can't imagine.
Pale by comparison to what we did in Vietnam, man. There was nothing like it. Nothing.
No, I can't imagine anything coming close to what you were doing in Vietnam.
I was fortunate. I'm sitting here, and a lot of guys aren't. And I just went to the wall, and I seen some of my buddies over there, and I, you know, so it brought everything, you know, up close and personal for me and focused. Yeah.
Could you had mentioned earlier, and I always like to speak of the brave women that served in Vietnam as nurses, and the brave men. They may not have seen combat, but they sure as hell saved a bunch of lives. Could you tell us a little bit about you being injured and the amazing medical work that took place and care that you received?
I sure will, Bud, and I'll tell you what, I'll be glad to. And the lady on the left right there in that photograph is named Carol Brown. And she was one of the intensive care nurses at the 24th Evac that worked on me when I got down there. The other woman that worked on me, and I can remember her name, was Joanne Kane. Kane. They were both 24th Evac nurses in 1970 in summer. Her husband, Carol Brown's husband, is a guy that I had the great pleasure to meet. She, unfortunately, is in really bad decline. She has dementia, and I wasn't able to speak with her and thank her, but I did thank her husband. And I said, if she has a lucid moment, I would like to meet her. But he said, well, most of the time, he said, sometimes she knows who we are and stuff. And I said, if she has a lucid moment, please tell her. But I thanked Larry, who may have been one of the guys that transported. He said he didn't know, but he did some transport, medevac or transfer from DCPS at Quanloy, which was the clearing station I said, down to 24th Evac. He may have been one of the guys that flew me down there. Who knows? But I thanked him. I said, I thank all the brave helicopter pilots that supported us, because I wouldn't have got the night that I got shot up, and I wrote that story about to try to pay tribute to these people. The name of it, that they changed the name on my story, but that's okay. I don't know if you saw it on. It was on a site that was called the War Horse. That's it there, come hell or high water, and yeah. And that bird right there, those pictures right there were from Larry Brown, that pilot, the chopper pilot I told you about. It's a husband. He married Carol Brown, that nurse in the picture.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's some of their birds, and
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm going to link this into the show notes so people can check it out and read it. It's a great read and some great photos, guys. I'm going to put it in there for y'all. So what?
They were good people, man.
With you going there, it's we've heard from some of the SOG men that ended up either there at the 91st. Great work. Were you in such a bad case that you were immediately shipped out of country? Did you get to heal in country with the guys, or?
The getting shot up was bad enough. I was watching my precious red shit running out on the ground, and the meter was running on it in Cambodia there. But the chopper pilot came in and he turned his light on. I don't know who the guy was, but what happened was he heard the contact. We got into contact right away, because they were, like I said, it was one of them deals where they tried to insert us several times, and it's all in that story, so I won't belabor it, but that I wrote. He tried to insert us several times over a course of 2 or 3 days, and so all the NVA did was set up an ambush of opportunity everywhere they could, probably just waiting for us on the ground. And we come in, and they bushed us, and they were pretty good at it. Of course, they tried to target the radio. They like those for some reason. I guess they figure it's the link between the hell and whatever and your rear. So they're pretty good at knowing what the hell to do, and they did. So they lit me up, and the chopper pilot came in though in the dark, and he turned his lights on, and you could hear the pling, 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 pling all over his bird, the green tracers coming in, and the door gunner was trying to fire what he could to give us, some space, some suppressive fire on wherever the rounds were coming from, and they were taking fire, and I'm surprised they didn't get killed too. But the bird was just riddled when we got back, and I am remiss in not knowing the name of that chopper pilot, because I know later on they did give him I wasn't at the reunion. I didn't go to some of the early ones because I didn't even know about the Ranger Association initially, but they did give him a beret, honorary beret, because he was so good that he would sometimes they called him the woodcutter, because he'd come in and beat the hell out of the bushes with his rotors, and he ain't supposed to do that. You'd get a court-martial for that shit. But he would talk to his door gunner, and he'd ask for how much clearance he had around his rotors and shit, and he'd come into some tight places that maybe nobody else would do. And he also would come in like he did for me at night, which a no-no. And they didn't have, all that night,
No.
night navigation shit that we have now. It's just kind of flying. They had a knee board and an azimuth, and it kind of seat their pants, land features and shit. They flew at night, man. Yeah, there you go. Just crazy mothers,
So when you get healed up, are you sent to Japan to finish up healing and back stateside, or?
I went to Japan, but it didn't happen right away. I had 4 collapsed lungs.
Oh Lord!
I had a lobectomy left side of my left lung. I was shot through the tricep. They had to do reconstructive surgery in my tricep. I had RPG-7 or B-40 shrapnel on my back. Lost because of the left lung injury. I lost. You only have 2 lobes on the left. I lost most of the lower lobe on the left side. The doctor said that I had a round that chipped some of my ribs going through and went out the back. And so I've got a big hole in the back that they closed with sutures. And I got a couple little holes in the side and one up here in the chest area, and took my lung out basically. And I had massive hemoptysis, which is massive bleeding. And they gave me 6 units of blood before I ever got to the damn 24th of back. Luckily, they tubed me, gave me a chest tube at the clearing station. When I got to hospital, they iced and alcohol bathed my ass for 15 days. I was hovering on 105 degrees, and those brave nurses, you're naked and you're laying on a thermocoil, they call it. It's a blanket that has these ice or these water going through it. It's cold, but they bring in a stainless steel cauldron, like big bowl like looking thing, and it's full of ice and alcohol, and they sponge bath you from head to toe as long as they need to try to get your temperature below 105, so it doesn't either give you brain damage or kill you. And they did that, and I'd beg them to stop, and they'd say, well, if we stop, you die. But these nurses, their hands would like be freezing off, and they do this around the clock, and they trade off some, but they were in misery, and they were just doing it to keep us alive. So
what ladies?
I had altogether 4 collapsed lungs while I was in the hospital, and that's why they ended up doing a lobectomy, and then they gave me I had all these different infections. I had Pseudomonas aeruginosa, I had Serratia. I don't know what they had all these panels that they had identified by taking samples out of my back with this goddamn needle that looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. It's a big stainless steel tube looking thing with 3 handhold things and a big long needle, and they'd go through your back, no painkiller. And the guy just say, you're going to have to strain like you're taking a crap. And he pulls sample, they biopsy around your lung, take these out, and that's how they'd find out what whatever they were fighting with at that particular time, whatever new infection you got. So anyway, that was a lot of fun, and they transferred me over to Japan, the 249th in Japan at Tokyo. And then to Fort Dix, McGuire Hospital, Walson, and then to Valley Forge Special Wounds Hospital was the last one. So altogether, almost 4 months in the hospital, and 2 of it in intensive care.
Lord have mercy. Wow. I mean, your collapsed lungs and sucking chest wound. That's a heck of a route to recovery you went through, starting in Vietnam and getting over that 105 degrees. And we've spoken and heard guys talk about malaria relapse in the field. And you
talked to Jim Day, and he had it so bad that he didn't think he was coming out of the hospital either. I mean, he's a friend, good dude.
Good man.
We compared some notes on how much fun it was to be in the hospital, figuring, well, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Whatever didn't get me out there in the bush, but maybe this shit will,
Man, that is just tough. Oh, Lord have mercy. It's really amazing getting to talk to you LERP guys. We've heard so much from the SOG guys and them crossing the border, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting getting to hear from you guys, the LERPs, and not many people knowing or like you said, still arguing the fact that you guys weren't doing cross border stuff or SOG stuff, and it's quite clear from listening to you and some of the other guys like Mr. Craig and others that y'all were across the border knocking around, dusting it up quite a bit with the NDA.
Well, and to be fair, a lot of people weren't supposed to know what the hell we were doing.
No.
And it's for them to say it didn't happen. I can understand that, it being fair, because when I'd come back and they'd start arguing with me, I'd just shrug my shoulders and say, well, God damn it, you weren't supposed to know about it. Neither was anybody else at the time. And we weren't supposed to talk about it for a long time. And we didn't.
Exactly.
And we weren't supposed to drink or smoke. And sometimes we even went into isolation. We ate indigenous rations, which was terrible. Fish heads and Nook Mom and shit. And, but so if it depended on the mission, if it was, didn't have very many of those, but they'd let you know what it was like if you were really going in to do something like you talked about, the Milai, or Plime and some of the what the hell was I've got it wrong.
Quan Loy and
no, where they were supposed to, they had a bunch of prisoners and they were trying.
Sante.
Mm-hmm. So Bull Simmons was supposed to lead that mission. He did it successfully, but those guys went in isolation before, and they had to eat indigenous rations and shit, and really be careful.
Oh yeah.
And in the end, it didn't matter, but they had to be prepared for all that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We are here at the closing. We're about an hour 41 in, and we've got two more questions here that are good to close out with. We've had some good questions today. Sean is curious, was it mandatory for all LERPs to attend Recondo school at some time during their time in Vietnam?
No. Only people that they thought would become, because Recondo school wasn't just for Army personnel. If you went there, you might be there with Koreans, Australians, SAS. So they had slots, and you had to be good to get there. And then you had to prove that you were, like Cordell said, he thought he was pretty hot shit. He went over and he said the Korean rocks just tore our ass up. He said he said, man, they could swim and do stuff that we hadn't really done, but they could do all of it. He said they were really good. That's just an example. That's something Cordell told me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go there, so I did the one at Phuc Vinh at Camp Gorvad.
Oh man, but still, I mean, that's a testament. I'm always love hearing about the in-country Rainer training and y'all's pipeline and what it consists of, and clearly y'all are doing something right for.
I'll give you one last humorous story then.
Yes.
Well, I'll give you two real quick ones.
Yeah.
One of the missions that I did in Cambodia when we were inserted, I had dysentery real bad. I went over to take a crap. I told the team because I want them to smell the stench of me. And they said, okay. And it was misty in the early morning, and I'm down in the squat and I'm doing it. And all of a sudden I think I see movement off my right. I look over and God, it is. They emerge. These guys are, man, they're not really giving a crap. They're just kind of like on a lollygag stroll down over the hill. But I know that if they see any movement over there, I'm in this like rigid squat. And I think my epitaph's going to read, killed while taking a shit. And the other one I'll give you was our very first, when we were training there at Camp Gorvad, running around the outside of the perimeter. I can remember the guy, Joe Harner, and him and Jack Bowles. They were the two trainers that day. And they were running us around, and incoming comes. And they're still running. We're all those guys that had never seen anything, we're want to jump in a hole or, get on the ground. They said, keep running. And we'd hear the sometimes we'd hear the shrapnel hitting the mud puddles and stuff. And most of them were far away because they were trying to hit maybe the flight line, but sometimes they would get one over. And these guys just running around there like it's nothing, and we're going, wow, these guys got balls like, we want to have. Anyway, I thought you might find that humorous.
That is wonderful. Gosh, y'all have got the best stories in the world. We had one more question to close out with, and it's always interesting. It's kind of like with the SOG guys. I'm assuming y'all have a little bit. Where'd that question go? Oh, there it is. Jed was curious. Do the LERPs get any cross training medic wise?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Although serum albumin, no. We learned how to do a field expedient trach, we called it, but it was actually, I think, a thoracostomy is the actual name for it. Where if somebody gets their jaw blown off or whatever, you take a P38 and you take your finger and you go right here on your throat and you feel right here and you feel a V. You feel at top of that V. You really be careful to identify that right there. When you feel that on top of your Adam's apple, you cut right there carefully. You can insert the barrel of a pin, like pull it apart and take the barrel, put that in there, and you might save a guy's life because he can breathe then. So that's one. You had to learn how to start an IV. We weren't very good at that. But we hoped that we didn't have to do that. But we also didn't carry Ringer's lactate or whole blood or anything with us. So you weren't likely to do that. But we did learn about the sucking chest wound, since you asked about, and this one basically saved my life because Fisher did it to me. Out comes the radio bag, which is around your spare batteries. You put that on and you use 90-mile-an-hour tape around that to seal the areas of entry and exit of the sucking chest wound, to give the guy the ability to a little relief from it's a disparity in pressure in your chest. And so all your inside air that was in your lung is now in the thoracic cavity holding your lung collapsed. So if I'm not being too verbose here, that's what you do to try to get you to a chest tube is the next step.
Gosh almighty. I've seen on the modern day guys slap it on, and then the chest tube is where
now they got a hot shit little device that you just stick that in there and it relieves the pressure, and it's a one-way valve. And that thing's hot shit. That's your chest tube right there.
That thing they put up under your armpit.
There you go. Hey, wait a minute here. I don't know if you can see that shit. I'll show you a couple holes here you'll like. All right. You see them?
Oh, right, Lord, yes.
That's where you put it right there through the ribs. That's one.
Holy cow.
And one of them was a wound of entry, but one was a chest tube.
Oh, man.
I got a big hole in the back. Somebody got to do some stitchery back there, some seamstress shit.
That is tough business. Well, we are hitting
it up, didn't you?
the 2-hour mark. We've had a great show. A lot of people viewing actively, and Ouchie is correct, Cadre. And a lot of great questions and people in the comment sections, and everybody saying please come back. So if you ever want to come and join us and come talk to us again, we would be more than honored to have you back.
Well, I figured I'd do this one, and you guys would all say, "You dumbass! I will never want to see you again."
No. Then it's all the comments coming up saying, "Please come back." No, they're
well, thank you. That's nice of you. Also, thank you, and I'd be glad to.
Excellent. Well, is there anything you'd like to say before we shut down for the evening?
Shit, I've already run you so far over time. I'm sorry.
No. This is what we were here for. This has been fantastic.
My sons are up there saying, "Shut up, Dad."
I saw him walking back and forth a bit. I was hoping I wasn't keeping you too long, but we want to thank you for sitting down, sharing, making us laugh, and also driving it home how serious Alert's job was in Vietnam and Cambodia. So it means a great deal getting to hear from you.
You stay hidden until you hit, and then you better get the hell out.
Yes, sir. The
you
words to live.
Fire superiority pretty quick and get the hell out.
Words to live by right there.
Try, yeah.
All righty, guys. We are gonna shut her down for the evening. Stay up. We're gonna probably have something going on later in the week, but have a good evening, Mr. Jim. Thank you, and we will see all of y'all